Hey y'all, it's Angie Atkinson, and today we're going to talk about the basics of healing your inner child after narcissistic abuse. So let's get started. All right, so let's start here. Whatever you are today, whether, regardless of what you are or who you are, it's all the outcome of what has happened up till now, including the things that have been problems for you, the things that you're strong in, your strengths, the habits that you have every day, and that you've had throughout your lifetime, and basically your overall level of self-esteem, right? So in each age group, each time of our lives, okay, starting at birth, going to infant, then child, then adolescent, you know, in each of those groups, you meet certain challenges. And if the people around you did raise you in a healthy and a natural way, then you would turn out to be a relatively well balanced and strong individual most of the time, unless you've got some real serious issues, right? But if your youthful experiences, if your childhood was filled with trauma, with problems, you know, if you can't think of if you think of your childhood and you have flashbacks, not good ones, and you have, not happy memories, but flashbacks there. If you think of your childhood and you have really negative memories and thoughts about it, then, what it all comes down to is that these incidents are going to really affect the way that you are these days today. So, whereas if you had a healthy childhood, then the incidents that have happened up, throughout your childhood would not necessarily negatively affect who you are today. But in the case of those of us who have been through narcissistic abuse, whether it's in childhood, in adulthood, or both, oftentimes we find that we have been experiencing something like that in childhood, and that's why our inner child has been damaged so much and why we continue to allow the abuse to affect us, right? So, if we're really going to understand this topic fully, then we really need to get an understanding of what the inner child is, right? So let's do that first. So, you know, let's let's talk about what the inner child is. So, if you don't know what one is, I'm gonna fill you in so that this way we're all on the same page as we go. Okay. So first, you know, we're going to kind of cover the whole thing and we're going to explore some ideas as we go. This is going to be probably uh, 4-day series after this. Okay, so bear with me, but I think it'll be worth it for you. Okay, so your inner child is the part of you that is friendly, joyful, emotional, playful, feeling that excitable side, the part of you that really feels everything. Now, as you know, when you go through narcissistic abuse, sometimes that feeling part of you kind of dies a little bit because it's the only way you can survive it without going insane, right? But regardless, this condition does vary and it does depend on your mood and your energy, right? So, of course, sometimes you're going to feel indifferent and like nothing, like I just said, when you're going through narcissistic abuse, you often feel numb and dissociated. And that is always going to, or can depend on what's happening outside of you, like in your life outside your own head, right? In your daily life. Now, just like with the inner child, if or just like with your outer child, the child you used to be, your inner child that you still carry with you, is usually pretty happy and blissful and adventurous. But the inner child is also known as the lower third of an extensive model of the human psyche that's called three selves. So, psychology experts said that, claim really, that in the inner child is our human childlike aspect within ourselves. And that's kind of what I believe. It includes everything from what you've learned and experienced as a kid before puberty. So, the inner child is essentially like almost a semi, kind of almost independent unit of yourself that, it kind of just stays in the back of your head in your conscious, semi-conscious, unconscious, subconscious mind, in various iterations. So today we're going to talk about how, I'm going to give you a few tips for how you can start to rediscover your inner child or discover them in the first place if you're like me and maybe you're not even sure you ever had an inner child. Because, I know that obviously I know that I did, but as growing up, I certainly doubted my validity as a person. And I think maybe that's part of the reason I like to play grown up a lot when I was a kid. But anyway, off topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about this. I'm going to give you these tips because learning how to discover the inner child in yourself can literally allow you to experience a happy and balanced life now. I mean, obviously you can't go back and relive your childhood, so I'm not going to tell you to do that. But I am going to, help walk you through some different exercises and give you some tips, okay? So here's what you can do. You know, start by opening your mind. Don't restrict yourself so much. Consider how when you were a kid, maybe you were more impulsive than you are today. And of course, you have to be relatively careful in life today. You can't just go out there and take your clothes off in the middle of the street or some craziness like that. But instead of ignoring that voice that tells you to do something fun, like skip down the steps or, you know, dance to your car or whatever people do, again, remember I struggle with that playful thing myself. I'm working on it. Uh, anyway, but instead of ignoring that voice, try to listen to it. When it tells you to try something new, and remember that, it's really also best to change your current, you know, schedule. Like, so for example, if you're like on a schedule where you wake up every morning at 3 a.m. or 5 a.m. or whatever, sleep for an extra 30 minutes or get up an extra 30 minutes early, because if you get up early, then hey, maybe you have some time to play in the morning, right? I love morning time. I don't know how that happened to me. I used to be totally, a night owl, and I still have that in me. I can still be a night owl, but I love getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning before everybody else and going outside with a cup of coffee and watching the sunset. It's my favorite thing. It's quiet and peaceful, and it's just, it's a good time to kind of relax and get your head in place. But anyway, change your schedule for a week. That could always help. Okay. So, just kind of don't be so rigid in your daily stuff like you have been. And maybe if you can kind of let go a little bit, you can find a little bit of that inner child. Okay. Here's another suggestion: use your imagination. This is one that I love to use. And this is like, as you can see in my decor choices, my inner child comes out a lot in my office as far as the creative part of me, brings out that I guess inner child part. Um, so, but always allow yourself to be imagining, and imaginative as well. The way you act, the way you think. Don't limit yourself. And because the thing is, like I was just talking about, you also really need to find creative activities in your life that can kind of bring your imagination back. So you could start with, those adult coloring books are great. They're very therapeutic in so many ways. And they're also great for meditation. Anyway, clearing your head of stuff that you can't control. It's always helpful with your narcissistic abuse recovery as well, right? Okay, next suggestion: laugh, smile, have fun. You know, everybody has problems. It's not just you. And but that doesn't mean that you don't have a good reason to smile. You know, so find things in your life that make life more interesting and exciting. You could play with kids, listen to good music, watch hilarious movies. I love to watch a hilarious movie now and then. It's very therapeutic. Just find a reason to laugh. It could be anything at all. I mean, just smile. They say that when you smile, it actually increases endorphins somehow and actually makes you happy. So sometimes maybe you smile before you're happy, you become happier. Hey. Okay. Next up, really dig into the world with your senses. Okay, so close your eyes right now and remember, how did the world seem a little brighter to you when you were a kid? What can you do to take the time to stop and smell the world and and look at the colors around you and really feel the world and taste something delicious and put your hands on something soft and silky and think about things, foods, fabrics, smells, colors. Really dig in with your senses. Okay, that can help you as well. And for example, when I was a kid, um, a certain smell was emblazoned into my mind, and it totally represents the summers of my childhood. It's the smell of popcorn and chlorine because I lived at the pool when I was a kid, and they had a little refreshment stand, and it smelled like popcorn and chlorine at the pool all the time. And that smell to me is childhood, and maybe mixing some like, horrible tan oil that I should have never used. Don't do it. Just use sunblock. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, yeah. So, with the simple steps that I just outlined, you can start to discover your inner child right there. If you have noticed that your inner child is damaged, which I'm sure he or she is, if you have been through narcissistic abuse, then you know, now's the time to heal it. Okay, because once you heal your inner child, the emotional wounds that you suffered, you know, can they're still going to be there, but they can kind of scab over and you can kind of start to move forward from here because you can't live in the past, my friend, and you know that. So as time passes by, you know, if you don't heal yourself, you, as you know, become emotionally susceptible to narcissists. You yourself can become dysfunctional as well, which is very unfortunate for you and for other people in your life. So this is why you have to stop living in the past and you know, begin to move forward. And this is what healing your inner child can help you do. Okay, so the thing is that, you know, treating your inner child is not like super fast and easy, so you're going to have to be prepared for this. Okay, so but we can start the healing right here. Okay, so you're gonna, with step one, the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna have to earn the trust of your inner child. So what do I mean by that? Well, so your inner child has had a really shitty time of it, okay? Your inner child doesn't trust people, and that includes you at this point because you have proven to not necessarily protect him or her up to this point. Now, I know that sounds weird because I'm talking about yourself, but go with me on this. So it means that your inner child needs to trust you. It means you have to develop trust because your inner child is wounded and doesn't have trust. Your inner child has to understand that you are there to protect and nurture it, okay? So start thinking about this as I go through these steps with you. You have to earn the trust of your inner child, okay? And then step two, okay, is, you know, you have to help your inner child to fight and move forward, okay? So you have to reach inside of yourself and figure out what hurt your inner child. And then you have to grieve it and let it go. And then, you know, you can, you know, because what you have to do is you have to kind of learn to put your figurative arms around your inner child and hold it close to your chest and comfort it and tell it it's okay. You know, and, you know, after you embrace your child, your inner self, and you know, you can begin to let go of the pain, then you can be one step ahead for better healing. Okay? All right. Moving to step number 3, taking away your anger. So it's natural to be angry. Okay? You've been through some shit. All right? But that doesn't give you the right or the responsibility to be mad all the time, my friend. Being mad all the time puts you in this place where you're toxic yourself. You don't want that, do you? But through forgiving, you have a chance to heal your inner child. Forgiveness does take a lot of love and care for other people, okay? And you know, you have to be prepared to let go of the anger, but you know, sometimes you need the anger to actually move forward, and if you're in the place where you still need the anger, then you know, do what you need to do, but that place can't be a long lasting place. You can't be mad for long because it's toxic to yourself, okay? So the next thing you want to do, or the next step you need to take, is fighting the loneliness, right? So this is a way that you can, you know, kind of help your inner child become healthy again. So you can make sure that your inner child feels accepted and recognizes his or her true self. Okay, so you have to help your inner child to drive away the guilt that plagues him or her, and you know, makes him or her feel like there's something wrong with you. Okay, you need to figure out what it is that makes your inner child feel accepted and recognize, you know, his or her true self. What makes him or her recognize his or her true self? What makes you recognize your true self? What is it that you need to feel accepted? Okay, and what are you feeling guilty about, and how can you move forward from that? These are things you need to start thinking about as you're working toward healing your inner child. Okay, so when you do these things, you have a chance to really grab a hold of and embrace a new and exciting life that you deserve, not one that was built for you by a narcissist who doesn't even like you as a person. Okay, so don't just think I'm blowing sunshine up your ass here. Okay, the fact is that the power of your inner child is significant. Okay, and if you're ready to heal yourself, let's get ready to heal your inner child, and you'll be so much closer to where you want to be. Okay, so we're going to start treating your inner child today, and you're going to experience those positive effects in your life today. All right, now tomorrow we're going to talk about the history of the healing your child inner child movement. Okay, and that's going to explain to you where this, where the psychology comes from, where what the background of it is and stuff like that. And then I'll also offer you a couple of other healing techniques. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close up for today. You have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of your recovery and a part of your day. And if you have additional questions, things you want to talk about, things you want to know more about, subscribe to my YouTube channel, leave me a comment. I'll be happy to answer you in a video or a comment. And you may also check out queenbeing.com, which is right there. And you can check out narcissismsupportcoach.com right there. And then you can check out, oh, my nail looks terrible. And you can check out, that's because I haven't done them yet, you guys. Don't judge me. I still have a little polish on there. Oh, and you can check out booksangiewrote.com, which is right there. And those are the books that I've written on this topic and related topics. All right. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.